Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 7. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Listen, y'all. Listen, let's get into it, okay? When y'all are subscribed to the channel, I need y'all to hit the notification bell because you don't want to have to search to see what I was doing when it comes to the Married at First Sight, honey, because I'm watching it for y'all each and every week. Y'all done cut out 30 minutes and we still ain't got nothing but foolishness. So y'all go ahead, hit the notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. It's the final night of the honeymoon from hell, child, because we already know what they've been going through, honey. They've been fighting too much to be in Jamaica, man. How y'all fighting all day and all night up in Jamaica? I say, what now? Let me tell y'all something. First things first, I'm going to be having myself a grand old time sitting out with my feet kicked up, and I'm definitely going to hit up the Jamaican KFC, honey, because ain't nothing like it. I'm going to be having myself a good time. I ain't got time to be fussing with you, honey, because I really don't even know you. So we're going to get to know each other, and we're not going to be fussing. We just met. Like, this just don't make no sense. Gina and Clint. That's just a side note. So she's doing a video cam trying to play victim. She's like, he really doesn't see anything wrong with what he said, and I'm just disgusted. For me, him not realizing what he said was wrong is a huge red flag. And you gaslighting him into thinking that he started something that you actually started is a huge red flag. So girl, goodbye. So Clint is meeting up with Chris and Eris, and he tells them about his argument with Gina. So he said he told her that he was trying to give a point of reference when he was talking about who he would normally date. But she said that was a no-go. But when she called him a ginger and a redhead, she wanted to act like that was a term of endearment. So Eris is like, well, it might be an insecurity of hers because for me, she's small, but maybe she's thinking in her mind that she may be a little bit bigger. Okay, Eris, I hear you. And under normal circumstances, I will be right there with you, brother. I will be right there with you. But his red hair may also be an insecurity of his. It goes both ways. We don't know how Clint grew up. We don't know if people picked on him for having his red hair. We don't know what he went through. So Gina needs to be mindful of her words as well. Child, she ain't no victim. So now Clint is like, well, that's not fair to me because now I'm being labeled a guy that doesn't like thicker girls. So Eris was like, yeah, that's not right. You right. It's not fair. So Eris is trying to get him to see that it's not what you say, but how you say it. So Clint feels like that he had pure intentions when he was talking to Gina, and he really didn't mean to come across like that, especially to the other women. And I'm going to say this again. I don't feel like Clint is 100% in the wrong. I just don't see it, child. I said what I said and I ain't changing it. 2 hours later. So now the couples are meeting up for dinner, right? Everybody looks nice. And, they have on their nicest little clothing. They're going out for the couples dinner that they do every time they go on a honeymoon. And so Gina said that Clint came in and apologized to her for not only offending her, but every woman in the room. Okay. So they get to dinner. Child, they sit down at the table. At dinner, Clint gets up and starts speaking his speech. So he kind of apologized, but not really. And I didn't know what was going on. But it was giving lamb chops play along because Clint kept going. It was definitely giving the Energizer Bunny. He kept going and going and going. And he was saying that he apologized to Gina for his comments and that it was the wrong choice of words, but he wanted to tell them where he's been in his life. Just sit on down, Clint. Just sit on down, child. Because they're going to find a way to make it bad, child. So just sit on down. Let's move on. Y'all both were being petty. Do better. Moving forward. So then Gina tells the table that he apologized and she's usually a runner at the first sign of trouble. So whenever he did something, she just wanted to run. And I knew she was just looking for an out. I knew it. I'm like, girl, you are really blowing this up. You are really putting 20 on 10. And I knew that's the reason why. It's because she's a runner. She's a track star. I knew it. So then Nicole pipes up talking about, we were all looking at you differently, but if Gina forgives you, then we will because we're going to need each other's support. Girl, hush. Speak for you and Vinny. I don't think Clint said anything that bad. She gave her type and so did he. Don't nobody care if you accept it or not, honey. We don't give a damn. So then Clint is like, it's not only Gina and I. Honey, I know that's right, honey. Sweep around your own shared apartment front porches first before y'all come over here talking about what's going on over here. Clint was like, listen, that ain't what y'all finna do. It ain't just us. Aries, you don't like Jasmine. Kirsten, you don't like Shaq. Shaq, you look dead behind the eyes. Vinny, sit up straight and stop wearing them short sets. Y'all will not do that, honey. What an unfortunate turn of events. Y'all know I love that. Oh, honey. Clint is a fool. Moving forward. So then Gina asked everyone at the table, because she's feeling good tonight, honey. She was like, what would y'all rate your relationship on a scale of 1 to 10? Child, let's get into it, because this is messy. So McKinley starts first, and he starts to talk about how he jokes and they don't really land. You know, they land with his friends, but not really with old judgy Dominique. But emotionally and physically, it's like a 7.5. I don't care for Dom. I don't care for her. And at first I was like, you know what? I don't know what it's something. I don't like her. I don't like her attitude. I don't like how she feels she's superior to McKinley. I don't care for her very much. So Chris said he, was blown away with Nicole. So he's going to go with an 8.2. She said, I was going to say an 8.2 as well. But then, when we get to the real world, it's going to be a little bit differently. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. Dominique also said a 7.5. So Nicole is like, I think it's going to be totally different when we get to the real world and we have to deal with real life issues. Yes, ma'am. Vacation is always an 8.2. As soon as y'all get to the shared apartment, it's going to be a whole fool. These two right here, even though I want them to succeed and I think they will be the only couple that makes it to the finish line, these two are living in La La Land. And when that bubble bursts for the first time, it's going to be bad. Real bad. It's going to be bad. So then Kirsten brings up Shaq's joking because it's their turn. And she's like, he had a little thing, but I was talking to him about his joking. And, but for me, it's a 7. He said he's excited to see where it goes from there. So it's a 7 for him as well. I don't know why, but I just feel like everything Kirsten says is so performative. I don't buy anything she says. It doesn't give genuine. It just really does not. Every time she speaks, I'm just like, she's so pretty. But I just know she lying, honey. I just know she got a little lying problem. And Shaquille looks checked out every time she speaks because he already knows that she's going to lead with something that she doesn't like. It's like, girl, why don't you just say, well, I'm at a 7. We've had our ups and downs. But it's like she always has to say something negative before she gets to the positive. Last episode, I said I didn't like his bald head, but then I was like, I didn't want to go to, Jackson. I wanted to come to the honeymoon, but I'm like, education. Like, girl, gone. So then it's time for Eris and Jasmine, right? So they're up next. So she brings up him never being in love. Girl, please let it go. Please let it go. You need to take that up with the experts. I don't know why they keep enlisting these people that have never been in love. You will not experiment on me. Why would you cast someone that's never been in love so that the person that they're matched with tries for the entire 8 weeks to see if they can be there first? It's just foolish, child. It's just a fool. So anywho, she brings up him never being in love. And she was like, I fall in love easy, but I can't fault him because maybe he's never had a Jasmine. Girl. So she was like, well, for me, I feel like, a 7.5 and 8. A 7.5 and 8. Jasmine, ain't nothing an 8 in this marriage except Eris's shoe size. Not nothing. Girl, not an 8. Okay, child. So then he comes out and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go with a 7. So both Shaquille and McKinley were looking like, okay, now we know Eris got a little lying problem. He is definitely lying to Jasmine's face. Now look, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. I could say that he's trying not to embarrass her, so that's why he gave it a 7, even though he told the guys something differently. But I feel like he's also doing her a disservice by not keeping it real because it gives her false hope. So now she's skinning and grinning and her crown is tilted. Baby, straighten up your crown, pack up all your dogs, and head on back to the kennel because I would leave Eris's ass right where he stood. Moving forward. So McKinley was like, I feel like some of these people are lying, aka Eris. Honey, and is. So then Chris asked Eris if he could see himself falling in love with Jasmine. Now we all know it's a resounding hell no, but let's hear what he got to say. He's like, it's been a week. Y'all don't think this is crazy? I still feel like it's crazy. Like, I still feel like I'm in shock. Did he answer the question? Child, when I tell y'all he deflected so good. And also, Chris, why are you asking him about love? It's not time for all that. He barely liked the girl. Ooh, child. So we're outside in the little confessional where Chris and Snooki are standing together. He was like, yeah, I feel like Jasmine is ready to be a wife, but Eris isn't ready to be a husband. Absolutely not. Honey, people wasting people's time, energy, and resources. Child, this is a fool. So then they asked Gina, and Gina said she's a 5. Clint said he's a 5.5. Child, I'm surprised that y'all that high, honey, after that unfortunate turn of events. But here we are. Day 8 of marriage. So everyone is waking up on their last morning in Jamaica. I am so happy we didn't have to see Eris asking Jasmine if she eating bacon. I don't know what to do. So Clint fills us in on him having the neurovirus. Honey, he throwing up. It's coming out of both ends, his mouth and his rear end, child. I was like, ooh, honey, get yourself together. So it's time to go back to Nashville, right? We see Eris saying that he's feeling guilty because he's out for like a little jog trying to get some me time. He said he feels guilty that he's not as attracted to Jasmine as she is to him. Why is Eris acting like he's Idris Elba and Jasmine is the hunchback of Notre Dame? Eris, you're average at best, honey. Okay? Why do you keep acting like this is the most unattractive woman that you've ever seen in your life? Like, cut it out. Dominique and McKinley. So they're eating breakfast, right? And she's complaining yet again about him saying that he's only doing things for her. Girl, be grateful, because he could be like, I'm not doing it. I don't like doing those types of things. I'm not going to do it. I don't like it. He could be saying that. So he tells her, he's like, that's just me. Like, I'm not excited to do those things, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to be like romantic and let you know that I will do anything, you know, for you to be happy and for you to have a good time. Like, I have to have room to be myself. Exactly, girl. You cannot make him be who you want him to be. So she was like, I just feel like I'm the coach. Like, I have to hype you up. He said, no, it's quite the opposite. I feel like I've been giving you so much grace and everything, and you're not returning it to me. And I feel like you've been criticizing and critiquing everything about me. It's either your way or the highway. Absolutely, McKinley, you are absolutely right. She's nitpicking the hell out of him. He already apologized to you, woman. I really don't see the problem. Like, I would love for a person to be willing to step out of their comfort zone to be with me. I would love that. I feel like he's going to get tired of you being so judgy. Like, girl, he already apologized, so why are you bringing this up again? I'm mad that he keeps saying that he'll do it, you know, even though, girl, anyway, Chris and Nicole. So he's out on the balcony, honey. I'm talking about boo-hooing. And I'm like, what is going on with Chris? So Nicole comes out and she's like, babe, what's going on? So he tells us that they told him that he can't have his dogs at the shared apartment. So she's trying to comfort him and let him know that they're going to figure it out. Just ask your parents to keep an eye on one of them until you get done. Like, I knew he was crying because of them dogs. Didn't I tell y'all that on that live last Thursday? I thought it was because one of the dogs passed away, but it's because the dogs can't be with him. He's talking about they have abandonment issues and attachment issues. You sure it's them? Because, honey, it's seeming like it's you. So Nicole tells him that they can spend time separately if that's what it takes. Girl, you just want to live by yourself, honey. You ain't never lived with nobody either. This whole cast ain't never lived with nobody, honey. Gina only cares about her job, an unfortunate turn of events, and Clint and his boat. You got Dominique and McKinley. She just want to complain. He living in a basement. Eris ain't never lived with no woman and ain't never loved one. And nobody but his mama and that cousin, and they ain't fooling me. Jasmine got her crown on, walking around waiting on Eris hand and foot, and you want to live separately. Child, y'all a fool. Moving forward. Now, aside from all of that, I love that she made him feel safe enough to share, though. I really do. And she reassured him. But baby, the way Chris was carrying on, I thought somebody had died. And like I said, I told y'all last week that it was about them dogs. Child, Alexis could never. Oh, child. Shout out to Maya, honey. I wonder how Maya doing. I'm gonna have to DM Justin, see if I can catch up with Maya. Child, this is a fool. Chris, suck it up, Buttercup. Your dogs won't be abandoned. You're gonna be fine. I'm sure someone will be able to care for the dogs. My Lord. So Nicole FaceTimes her dad to ask if he would help with her dog, right? And so her dad was like, well, do you want me to take him back to Florida? And so she starts crying. Y'all need to get it together. Get it together, Nicole. If you don't want your dog to go with your daddy, then don't call and ask your daddy to watch your dog. If you know your daddy is in Florida. Like, I feel like it was a nice gesture. I just hope that she doesn't resent him and throw it up in his face when they start arguing. Because, that's how people like to do. It's like in the moment they want to prove that this is who I am. Look how I can help solve a problem. And then as soon as you get in an argument, now it's like, but I wasn't even with my dogs for 8 weeks. And I don't have time for that. I really don't. Now you're doing this because you want to do it. So Chris, take your little tear-stained short set and get ready to pack because it's time to go on back to Nashville. Jasmine and Aries. So he comes back in from his jog, and of course, Jasmine has breakfast ready. He wouldn't have it any other way. So he sits down and they're talking. Side note, I just noticed that Jasmine has the prettiest brown eyes. The way that the sun was coming through the room and hitting her eyes, I said, Jasmine has some very pretty eyes. I never noticed it until this episode. Anywho, that's just a whole lot of detail. So he's back from his jog, like I said. So they sit down, they're talking, they're eating, and he tells her, it was kind of like, how you feel about last night? Because I felt like, it was kind of a shift when we gave our numbers. She was like, a shift. Aries, stop trying to create something that's not there. There was no shift. Okay, you're trying to create contention so that she's not confused about why you don't have attraction toward her. Stop it. Okay. She was like, well, I told you I was going to give a different number than you. So as they're talking, he tells her that he feels like it's friendship vibes, but he knows if he was in an accident, she would be there wiping his butt and feeding him and being in his hospital bed. I'm sure she would be. And so would that cousin. She didn't sign up to be your nurse. If she's your emergency contact, she wants to be your wife. Like, what are you even saying? But you could be my homie. I know you're going to be there for me. You're going to be down for me no matter what. No, we don't want that. Okay. She signed up to be a wife. Anywho. So in her confessional, she said, I'm not trying to be a friend. I'm trying to be a wife out here in these streets. Child, I know that's right. She's like, I really didn't like hearing the friend word when it came from him. Well, Jasmine, you just sat here and told him, I was talking to your family and they said that it's going to take a little bit of work to pull some things out of you. So I'm going to give you some grace. You can't be telling a person like Aries that, because then they take that little bit of an inch and they make it a mile. So you have to let him know straight up, I don't like being called your friend. Do you see me as someone that you would want to be intimate with? Do you see me as someone you could potentially love one day? Because if not, honey, do not waste my time. Like, girl, you got to let him know. Chris and Nicole. So we hear from them and they tell us that they found a solution to the dog debacle. Child, Married at First Sight gonna have a dog storyline if they don't do nothing else. So the couples are packing. It's time to go back to Nashville. Kirsten is worried that Shaq might be a slob. She was like, oh, your stuff is everywhere. He was like, that's not how I am when I'm at home. This is just vacation. Child, I know that's right, honey. My stuff be everywhere when I'm on vacation. But when I get to the house, please put that where it belongs. And girl, quit complaining. So then they show us Jasmine and Aries, and they're talking about decor for the new place. So he was like, I like something that's nice, but I also want people to know that black people live there. Like, I like a lot of black art. Okay. That further lets me know that place that Dr. Pepper visited wasn't your place. It was decorated like a loving family lived there, not a bachelor. Okay? And you ain't fooling me. Over with Dominica McKinley, she's like, so what are your priorities when it comes to housing? Child, he ain't got none. It really don't matter. Anything better than sleeping on that friend's couch. Moving forward. So they're on their way to the airport, okay? So they get back to Nashville, plane up, wheels down, they've landed. It's time to see the shared apartments. Child, let's get into the mess. So once Aries and Jasmine get to the apartment, he notices that the apartment number is 313. So he starts talking about Detroit and how it's a good sign and this, that, and this and that. So they cross over the threshold, right? Soon as they get in, he looking around, ready to get it started. Also, a side note, I was looking at those beds, and those beds are really tiny this season. I'm like, them some little bit beds. They pan over to Clint and Gina, and they're trying to reset. So they sit down, they start talking about them having a small gathering, maybe a Mexican fiesta and inviting some people over. So Clint asked about Gina's dog and where the dog's going to stay. She was like, either here or maybe go to work with you. I don't know. He's not allowed at the salon. Girl, what? Not him taking the dog to work with him. Does he work from home? So Clint was saying, that he does like dogs, but he doesn't have one because he travels a lot. Back over here to Shaquille and Kirsten. So they're talking about Kirsten moving some things to the apartment and how they're going to wash their clothes, right? And he was like, are we going to wash our clothes together? She was like, no, I'm going to wash your clothes first. Baby, she don't even want the clothes to commingle. Talking about people like their clothes a certain way. Girl, gone. Talking about you might like a certain detergent. He was like, I don't like a certain nothing. Put them in there and wash them. I know that's right, child. She's like, oh yeah, me too. Okay. Girl, Chris and Nicole. So Chris finally stopped hyperventilating. Ooh, child, I'm glad he back with us. So they're on the couch and they're talking. So she was like, is there anything that you don't like? You can just go ahead and say it. Don't be afraid. Even if it was, he ain't gonna say it because he's afraid. He's like, no, there's nothing, but if there's anything that we need to talk about, I feel like we just need to tell each other what it is. So Nicole goes, well, we've been close to perfect. Like, I don't want household things to come in between us. Perfect? It's been 1 week. I'm gonna have to take a page from Eris's book. It's been a week, 7 days, 7 whole days. Honey, it's been 7 days. Shout out to Toni Braxton. Perfect. She's like, so do you love me? He said no. She said, oh, good, because I don't love you either. I think you love him, and you was waiting for him to say it first so you can say it back. Girl, goodbye. So they get in bed, right? And he's thanking Nicole for helping him because he didn't know what he was going to do as far as his dogs were concerned. He's like, that's what happens in a marriage. Like, that's a husband and wife situation. Was it? It seemed more like she was taking care of you like you would a toddler because you were having a full-on fit. But I guess compromise does come with a marriage. And so I'm wondering, this is what I'm wondering, y'all. Why couldn't one of his dogs go with like his brother? Like, I don't think it's fair for him to have both dogs there and her not having her dog there at all, but only on the weekends or something like that. Like, it made me raise my eyebrow at Vinny a little bit, aka Chris, because I was just like, I didn't really like that. I feel like you let Nicole sacrifice herself. And I want to make sure that you can make sacrifices as well. Side note, why does Chris keep wearing these athleisure wear tops to sleep? I can't take no more. I can't take no more. If I see one more muscle shirt, I'm going to lose my mind. Chris, if you order one more tank top in bulk off of Amazon, I'm going to scream. Dominique and McKinley. So they're on the couch talking, right? And I'm looking at this scene and seeing McKinley sip his wine as he winds down. I figured it out. Y'all. Dominique does not think McKinley is manly or rugged enough for her. He wasn't man enough for me. Baby, Toni Braxton been all up and through this review, okay? Shout out to Toni. He's not man enough for her. That is what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from them. So she was asking him what he expects from a woman. Like, what does he expect for her to do around the house? He said, I don't expect you to do anything. Like, I can clean up. And I also can cook a little bit. These two are like watching paint dry, child. Let's move on. Jasmine and Eris. So he's acting like he's 12, talking about, am I in there with you when you poop? So I say, what? I wish you would enter that room when something is exiting my body. Please do not enter that room, honey. That door will be locked. No, you will not come in there with me. Now, it just depends on your relationship, honey. If you want your man to come sit at your feet while you poop, then that's on you. But honey, don't come in there while I'm in the restroom, okay? Please don't. Child, I barely want you to see me take my wig off. So Eris is going through this house, honey, and he is assigning himself drawers and cabinets and don't put your toothbrush here and don't stand over there. So he asked her if she wore shoes in the house. She said, yeah. He said, oh, well, you have a lot of dogs, so y'all different. She said, y'all. I thought that was so funny. I said, baby, oh, honey. Now, listen, Jasmine, I'm speaking directly to you, honey. I have to agree with Eris on this one, honey. I have to agree with him in his do-rag. Do not wear your shoes in my house. Baby, the germs of it all. Oh, no, ma'am, honey. No, ma'am. Do not wear your shoes in my house. Don't do that. So he was like, everybody know when they come to my house, don't wear the shoes. So could you please tell people when they visit from your side that they shouldn't wear the shoes? And she was like, yeah. He was like, I know it's going to be a hard adjustment. She said, it's not going to be a hard adjustment. I won't wear my shoes in the house. So in the confessional, she's like, oh, my husband is very bossy. And he's also very peculiar about things. Like he needs the left side of the sink. He needs the left side of the bed. He needs this and that. Jasmine, I think the word that you're looking for is he's very particular about things. But he's also a peculiar character as well. So I ain't going to give you too much. Not too much. Not too much. He is peculiar as well, honey. He's giving doofus. Eris would have been told off. Do you hear me? He would have been told all the way off. Like, I know you're used to having things your way and to yourself, but you are living with someone else now. So you don't come in demanding. How about you put your wife first for once and ask her, which side do you prefer? Whatever side, I'm normally on the left side. If you would have given her a choice, I'm pretty sure she would have said, knowing Jasmine, no, take the left side if that's the side you like. You don't just come in telling her, don't put your shoes right there. You don't sleep on that side. You don't do this. Like, boy, gone. Jasmine better than me. Her patience is very admirable because I only got so much. And then I'm going to cuss you all the way out. Okay, and maybe that's why I'm by myself, honey, because I know this ain't for me. I know this right here is not for me. So they're eating. So while they're standing over the sink, and I'm confused as to why y'all standing up when there's a table right there, they start talking. So she going on and on and on, right? He going to say, oh, were you saying something? He's so childish. He is so childish. He is really putting her in the friend zone big time. He letting her know, baby, there's nothing romantic with us at all. Okay, I'm not even listening to nothing you talking about. And that's just that on that. Day 9 of marriage. So it's the first morning in the shared apartment. We see Chris and Nicole waking up, talking like they like to do. And later on in the day, all of the couples are going to each other's homes. Jasmine and Eris. So they get to his house. I said, okay, Eris got that family of 4 home. Okay, sir. So they walk in. The first thing you see is the home gym. Wait, y'all didn't take y'all shoes off. Because I was watching y'all as y'all walked around the house and I was like, okay, I just know she about to take these shoes off. But they didn't take the shoes off. I have to give Eris a point or half a point. His home was very clean, very organized. It was giving, if I put it there, I know where it is. Please don't touch it. And now I can see why he is the way he is. So he takes her to the man cave. And so she was like, I just realized now why you say you need your me time, because there's a lot of designated areas just for you. He's like, yeah, so when we get a place together, I'm gonna need a man cave. Now, child, y'all ain't making it past that shared apartment. Boy, gone. He did say something that touched me, though. He really did. So she looks over and she sees an obituary in a frame. And he said it was his dad's. But they had a double funeral because his uncle also passed like 2 days before his dad. So in the confessional, he said, sometimes he feels like a little boy waiting for his dad to come home because his dad passed when he was only 11. He was actually unalived. And all jokes aside, I cannot imagine how that impacted him as a young boy. Like, it probably has a lot to do with how he is now. I'm almost certain it does. And now I realize why he wears that necklace as well, because a lot of people thought that was a picture of his mom and his little piece and chain, but it's actually his dad's picture in there. Okay, Eris, you wear that chain all you want to, honey. If that's what makes you feel closer to your dad, then you wear it every day. But I do feel like he needs some counseling to work through some things, because he may have abandonment issues, which is why he doesn't get close to anyone, which is why he probably has never fell in love, because the thought of loving someone and losing them would equate to the same thing and the same kind of pain and hurt he went through with his dad. Now, maybe I just, got a little bit Dr. Nicole on y'all, honey. If you don't know who Dr. Nicole is, she's over there on another show, honey. Put a ring on it. But maybe I have gotten a little bit deep, but I think that may be what it is. After seeing his place, I feel like it's going to be hard for him to break his selfish ways. Old habits die hard. They really do. Dominique and McKinley. So they get to McKinley's house. Well, whoever's house it is, child. McKinley is sleeping on the floor, whatever he doing, child. Because I don't even think he has a house at this point. So she said him just being in the basement makes her feel like he doesn't plan to be there for long. I'm not gonna be here for long. Shout out to Keith Sweat. Honey, McKinley said, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, child. So they get there, and basically nothing in there is his besides his clothes. Sir, why do you have this cardboard box and you ain't got but 4 or 5 pieces of clothing to put in this box, 7 pairs of drawers and 2 shirts and some shoes? Y'all should have just gone straight to her house, because what are we really doing here? So he was like, is it what you imagined? She said, no, because I have nothing to judge you off of. And we know you were waiting to judge. So it's probably for the best that he had nowhere to take you to, because you sit and wait to nitpick everything about him, which is probably why you were single, Dominique, and probably why that mama of yours had to sign you up. She wanted to get you off of her hands because you was getting on her nerves as well. And you ain't fooling me. Moving forward. McKinley, just tell the woman that you moved there for the show. Okay? Because it's plain as day. I moved here for the show, and that's just that on that. So as they're leaving, he asked her if she had any concerns. And she said, I just don't see how you could have been in there for that long. Like, why haven't you found a place? And he said he came down there with the intent to move, but he didn't want to jump into a place because he hasn't figured out which side of town and this, that, and this and that. She's like, but you jumped into a marriage? Now listen, I might not be a fan of Dominique, but I can see how she can feel that McKinley is playing because what? Like, you don't even have a place to lay your head down seriously. Why would you go and take a wife? And then some people could argue, well, why would he get a place knowing he's going through this process? You're going to have to move in together anyway. You've been there for 5 months. You should have gotten a place. That's almost half a year. Like, no. She's judgy and aggy AF, but he moved there, so actually move there. And that was the end of the episode. Child, the episode didn't give much. I'm not sure if we're going to do our live tonight or not. I'm going to play it by ear because really, what are we talking about? What are we even talking about? Now, next episode, when they all seem like they all about to get a divorce, baby, y'all know we going to convene and we are really going to get into it. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.